Welcome back to another video, and this is my makeup haul video for the months of June and July. We are back, and that means that I'm back from traveling, so the videos you have seen before this one, I think there was altogether 4 videos that I pre-filmed before the trip and edited, so this is now my first official video after returning from the trip. So me and my husband, we were traveling. We went to the Brno in Czech Republic, and then we spent a couple of times in Vienna, Austria. We have been to Vienna before a couple of years ago when we were doing our honeymoon, so in Vienna it was more like that we were just hanging out, because the previous time when we were in our honeymoon, we were obviously a bit longer there, so we had sort of gotten seen the sort of main site. So in Vienna we were doing more hanging out, but in Czech Republic and Brno we were spending a couple of days there. If someone doesn't know about the city, so Brno I think is the second biggest city in Czech Republic after the capital, so I think it was quite nice actually being there, because while there were foreign tourists there wasn't that much foreign tourists. There were more or less like locals who lived there, and then maybe some like tourists within the Czech Republic, so it was actually quite nice being there without feeling that you were kind of like bothering everyone, which is kind of the feeling you get when you travel to some of these capitals. Because for example, when we got to Vienna, it was pretty obvious that there was a lot of it was quite obvious that it was a tourist season when we were in Vienna, so that's kind of it. Our trip went very well. We're gonna be seeing it in this video. I actually didn't end up buying that much makeup, but I was sort of also prepared, because I did remember when traveling to Austria during our honeymoon that the makeup selection in Austria, it isn't like they have Douglas there, and then they have the DM and Rossmann, which are the sort of like German drugstores that also have like stores outside of Germany. And I did remember that the selection, especially in Douglas, which is more of a high-end makeup retailer, I did remember that their selection, especially in store, like on their online store, they do have quite a decent amount of things, but then the stuff that you are able to get in store, and I did visit the sort of biggest, like I think it's one of the like bigger store that's in the sort of main shopping street in Vienna, and there was like there were a lot of brands, but there were also a lot of empty spaces in the shelves, so they didn't have things in stock. So, but on Czech Republic in Brno, they actually did have a Sephora, which was pretty good. In the Brno Sephora, so I went to the Sephora that was in the shopping center near the main railway station. They actually do have 2 Sephoras, at least based on my googling. The other one was in a shopping center that's a bit more further away from the city center, but the one that was like close to the railway station that I was able to access by just walking there, it was quite of a decent size Sephora, but there were like a couple of odd things here and there. For example, like with a lot of complexion products, I noticed that they didn't have the fairest and lightest shades. They didn't have those in store. They had the testers for the shades, but a lot of like empty places. Then when I started looking at it, they have the shade actually in a package. Then I really quickly noticed that the shades that they had in store were more like medium shades. And also in terms of brands, I do think the brand selection in the Sephora in Brno was quite decent, but for example, the strange thing was that I was kind of thinking that I would have liked to see the new Natasha Denona cream bronzer in store, but they only had like minis of Natasha Denona products in store. They didn't have a Natasha Denona stand, which was quite strange. There were also a couple of other brands that they had the minis in the mini section. If you've ever been to Sephora before, the cashier, they sort of have this large boxes that you can pick up minis. And they had like also some other brands where they had minis, but they didn't really have like the sort of like the actual brand stand in the store. So a lot of, also in case of the Czech Sephora, I would have had to order online, but obviously since I was a tourist just visiting the place, of course I can't be ordering stuff online, but I did end up getting something. But otherwise it was a very pleasant trip. I would recommend, especially if you want to visit Czech Republic and you want to visit something else than their capital Prague, then I do think Brno would actually be quite a good place to visit, because it is like you can spend 2 to 3 days there. I think there's enough to see, and I did actually like the city, and everyone was I think relatively friendly, and it was easy sort of a town to walk around, because me and my husband, we don't have a driver's license, so we are very dependent on public transport. But in Brno they have a very good tram system within the city, so but because it's quite of a compact city, you could basically, I think we did walk most of the time. It was only when we went from the hotel to the railway station when we left to Vienna, and also when we arrived from Vienna to Brno via train, then we took the tram because we obviously had these huge luggages with us. But otherwise, as I said, I would recommend Vienna. Is obviously, like, if you've never been to Vienna, it is a very beautiful historical city, but it is very, especially during tourist season, like, you can definitely, like, a lot of the main attractions are pretty packed. So with Vienna, if you can sort of travel outside of the tourist season and you've never been to the city and you want to see the sort of main museums and the main palaces, then I would advise to Vienna maybe try to travel outside of the tourist season, because I visited the Schönbrunn Castle and it was like pretty packed, even though I had, of course, because I knew from beforehand that it's good that if you're able to book the tickets beforehand online, then you're most likely able to get to the attraction without queuing. And I had a pre-booked ticket, but there were still like a lot of people that were entering the same time that I was, so yeah. But that was sort of like my travel update. I will put it timestamp, because if you just want to get to the hall, then there's going to be a timestamp for that. But let's start actually talking about the products. And because I didn't do a haul video during the month of June, because I did a separate video of the P. Louise haul that I did, so none of the P. Louise stuff is going to be in this video, because there is a separate unboxing video of those things on my channel. So these are sort of all the products that I got during the June that were not the P. Louise haul, and then obviously the things that I have been ordering July. I have been ordering a lot of things from July, especially from indie brands, because there were some releases that I did want to get, so be prepared for that. But anyway, let's start talking about the products that I did got during the last couple of summer months. So where are we gonna start? I think I'm gonna first show the drugstore bits that I got. First of all, you can see that it's been a while since I got some of these, so there's gonna be a review video coming from these, because I realized most of these I either haven't gotten to use these yet, or that I have actually used them but I haven't gotten to reviewing them. So there's gonna be a lot of products that I'm gonna be just like telling my first impressions, or I'm gonna be saying that there's gonna be a review coming from them. So during June I did get some of the new Morphe palettes. So Morphe sort of redid their eyeshadow palettes. I did already declutter the bigger palette, because I felt that the quality of that one didn't quite match up what I was maybe hoping for it to be. But I did end up keeping two of the smaller ones. So this is the Outer Spice, so this is the more sort of pinkish warm toned one. And then this one is the Rich Glitch, which is a more of a cool tone variation. I already have reviewed these on my channel. I do think the bake shades in these smaller ones are kind of something unique for the drugstore, but I did discuss in my review that you necessarily don't have to run out and buy these new Morphe palettes. Then some complexion things. So I have been trying out now two skin sort of CC over BB-CC. The Maybelline one is the new sort of Maybelline BB cream, this just launched, and then this one is the Lumineux CC cream. I have been like, I'm almost have used this one up. I'm actually wearing a very thin layer of this today. It's very hot in our apartment. We are finally, the proper summer seemed to come, because the summer where I've been living has been pretty, I'd say, even cold. The temperature has been around like somewhere between 15 and 20 degrees Celsius, and while I do actually appreciate a more cooler summer, now ever since we came back from the trip, it seems also that the heat wave came to where I'm living, so we are currently having something around like 25 Celsius degrees, which is very warm for me. I know in some places in Europe, and if you watched it from US, I know 25 Celsius degrees for some, that's not still too warm, but for me it's very warm, and I'm like sweating bullets currently, but we're still trying to film this one, so oh well. But anyway, I'm wearing a very thin layer of this one because I do feel my face is melting currently, but I'm gonna be reviewing this along with this one. The reason why I already bought this and opened this was because I was a bit unsure taking this with me to the trip, because I was thinking that if I'm gonna run out of this in the middle of the trip, I don't want to do the hassle of trying to quickly go and find another foundation. So that's the reason why the Maybelline one is also open. So this is the one that I was traveling with, and actually traveling with this one was also a good test of seeing how this one's lasted. But these are both going to be included in a review video. I think I'm going to be filming the makeup review video somewhere around next week. So in a couple of weeks time you will be seeing review of both of these products. Then something that I haven't opened. So this one is the L'Oreal what was this called? Serum Color Correction. This was the serum concealer. They released this during springtime. It took a while for this to come to the European market. I am still in the process of using my old concealer, but once I will be getting this into my rotation, again, this is going to be included in a future review video. Very interested to see how this is, because definitely as someone who's in their 30s, I can definitely appreciate a more of a hydrating concealer, but I do also like my concealer to have coverage, so we shall see how I'll be liking this one. Then another L'Oreal product. Now this is a mascara that I've been wearing for the last month or so in my videos, so this is the OG Telescopic Mascara. I'm already gonna say this or spoil this before like reviewing. This is probably gonna be going to the top mascaras that I've been trying recently. Like I get it now why this is, like why L'Oreal still manufactures this, because this is a very OG. I think this came to the market at least when I was like I think it was even before like a preteen. Like I was very young and I remember when this came to stores, and I do remember back then it kind of got the hype, but this was like way before social media and we were just like entering the internet era, you could say. So but I'm just wondering why isn't L'Oreal promoting this more, because so far this has been like awesome. This is, if you are unfamiliar with this one, so this is the mascara that is made the sort of skinny ones thing of sorts. So yeah, but I will be talking about this one more again in the next review video, because I have been now using this long enough to give my review about it. Then some more Morphe products. So with the eyeshadow palettes we also did get the bronzer sticks. So I have the shade Sudden Heat, so it is the fairest shade. I do have to say already, just having like already had this in my rotation, this is a bit of a more warmer leaning cream bronzer than what I was sort of expecting, but I do still think this was a pretty decent. But again, I will be going through this one in more detail when I get to the filming the review video, but this is something that I also got during June. Then we finally got the NYX highlighters. So these already came to States. I think it was in the end of spring, beginning of summer. I got the lilac one because I finally thought that okay, fun highlighters are coming back, and I was kind of thinking that which of the more fun shades I get. So this has been something that I've been trying out. I did actually have this in my rotation a bit longer because I really wanted to sort of get my thoughts around this one, how I'm liking this, because there's been certain situations that I have felt that this has been very nice, and then some that maybe are not so nice. This has a very strong scent, so if you have tried the bronzer in this line, this has a very similar strong scent to it. Funny thing, I now have the bronzer, I now have one of the highlighters. I still haven't gotten to buy one of the blushes, so we are still in a sort of that phase with these ones. But this also, I am going to be talking about more of this one in the future review video. Then some things that I bought to the trip. So our drugstores luckily sell minis of W7 products, and for when I was traveling I wanted to have a smaller makeup bag with me. So I bought the W7 translucent setting powder, and then this the matte fixer setting spray in a mini. I have reviewed the full size of both of these products in my channel previously, so that is why I also was comfortable buying these. These are both pretty decent drugstore products. I do actually think the setting spray is quite good if you're looking for a drugstore setting spray, but these aren't anything extraordinary. But for traveling purposes, I do think these were a good buy. Then we also got the e.l.f. This is the Curl and Volume, what was this? Incredible Curl Mascara. I haven't opened this yet because I'm still using the L'Oreal mascara. So this is the next mascara that is going to be going to my rotation, but I haven't still used up the L'Oreal one, so it's going to probably take a while before I'll be reviewing this one. But this is something that I also got during... I might have actually bought this during July if I don't remember incorrectly. Let's just then go to the sort of more expensive things, so the Sephora stuff. I did post a small sort of shorts about the Sephora thing, so if you want to see a sort of quick swatches of these ones, there is a shorts on my channel. I finally got my hands to the Rare Beauty blushes. This Rare Beauty is one of those Sephora exclusive brands, or not exclusive, because I do know, for example, that in UK and Ireland you can get them on Space NK, but for example Space NK you can order through their site also to outside of the UK, but for example Rare Beauty is one of those brands that they have restricted the shipping of it, so this is truly something that at least I can only get if I go to a Sephora. So this is in the shade Hope, I think it was the shade of this one. since I just gotten this again, it's gonna take a while for me to get this in my rotation, but I have very high expectations for this because so far I have been liking Rare Beauty's products and I was very excited that I could finally get one of the blushes. I already did discuss about the fact that in Brno, Sephora, they seem to have a bit of thing that they didn't have the fairest shades of base products in stores. I would have liked to gotten the Fair Beauty pressed powder because they had it in store, but again, the lightest shades they had was some kind of medium shade, so unfortunately I couldn't get the pressed powder, but I was happy I was able to get the blushes. This was being buy. Then, because they had the minis, so I got one of the highlighters in minis, and I'm actually pretty happy that with this one I can truly buy it in a mini because I do think I have decent amount of highlighters. I did like the liquid blush that is in a similar packaging of this one, so excited to try also the liquid highlighter in a mini version. Then I finally got my first Makeup by Mario product. These are expensive, like of course I've seen, because you are able to like access obviously Makeup Mario's own website, and I can access like different Sephora's websites that do sell Makeup by Mario, but again, just like Rare Beauty, you are pretty much in Europe, it's pretty hard to get this aside from Sephora's or maybe other few select retailers. But this is their sort of liquid bronzer. I was able to get the fairest shade. They only had one left in the store. Again with this one, it seemed, again with this one and then some other like bronzing products, there seems to be the issue that some of the like very fair shades, the store didn't have them. But with this one, they had the one fair shade like left, and I immediately thought I'm gonna get this one. So interested to try this one. I have understood from reviews that this may be a bit more of a buildable contour bronzing product, so we shall see. Based on swatches, even though it is for fairer skin, it isn't like super cool toned, at least the initial impressions, but I shall see when I use this more how cool toned it is. So I didn't get the Natasha Denona new cream bronzer, but I got something pretty similar, and I am very interested to now try Makeup by Mario because obviously there's been some, not all of his products have been a hit, but a lot of them have gotten good reviews, so I'm interested to see especially that is this worth its price, because definitely for a cream bronzer this is probably one of the more expensive ones that I have gotten. Then, as I said, we didn't have a Natasha Denona stand, but we had plenty of Natasha Denona minis available in store, and that means there were the mini palettes. So this is the Starlight. This is an older mini, but I think this is one of the few Natasha Denona minis that I've been like saying that if I would actually... I usually prefer buying the big palettes because I do think those are better value, but the Starlight has been one of the like only minis that I've been going that if I could ever see it in the store, I might grab it, and so I took it. So this is again going to be going to my eyeshadow rotation at some point. This watched very well, so I have very high expectations for this one. If this is a hit, I might grab another mini when I get a chance. Now this, you know, luckily is something that I can order from quite a lot of online retailers, so with her brand it's not such a big like issue that I have to go through like hoops, like through all these obstacles to find it. With Natasha Denona there's plenty of retailers, even though it's not a brand that I can buy in store in my country, but there are other than retailers than Sephora that do sell her. Funny thing, by the way, if you have any of you been shopping from, especially now from Europe and Natasha Denona's website, because I was eyeing something on her website and I tried to use several influencer codes from YouTubers that I follow, and it seems that if you are ordering from Natasha Denona's website on Europe, I think they might have disabled the influencer codes, because I tried several different influencer codes and none of them, the website basically said that the codes aren't valid, so I don't know, has it something to do with the current tariff situation or what, but if you live in Europe and have been trying to order directly from ND's website, do let me know that have you had the issue that the influencer codes are not working. They might work if you're ordering on US, because Natasha Denona ships basically also products from States, so it could be something related to the current tariff situation. But anyway, those were sort of like, that was a bit of a side tangent, but anyway, something that I do want to discuss, because previously if you have ordered from Natasha Denona's website from Europe, you have been able to use any kind of influencer code that you have found it to the website. Then let's go to the Oden's Eye order that I made. So I did order the summer collection from Oden's Eye, or not the whole collection, because my god, the Oden's Eye summer collection this year, I was first thinking that are they gonna come out with the summer collection, and then they came out, then they released it, and there was like a lot. You had basically 12 different lip products and you had 4 palettes and all sort of things. So I ordered 2 lippies, 2 palettes, and then I got some extras. So as a freebies, I got 2 brushes. So this is supposed to be a highlighter brush, and this is supposed to be a blush brush. I'm gonna be using this as an under eye powder brush. I actually did use this already to powder my under eyes today, and this replaced an older BH Cosmetics blush brush that was actually quite similar shape, but it was getting quite old and I could feel that the brush was kind of getting loose in its barrel, so I was actually quite happy like getting 2 face brushes as a freebies. Then the stuff that I actually did pay for, so first the lip product, so this one is the Citrus Camellia, so this is one of the glossies. I actually could open this maybe and show you. So I do think I like the ombre packaging that have been going on with their lip products, and then the... Okay, now I'm gonna thinking when I'm seeing the shade first time that is this gonna be maybe too similar to the Spectral gloss that I have from Angie's Halloween collection from a couple of years ago, because this is looking a bit similar. It is quite mauvish leaning, but I'm gonna see how this is going to be looking on the lips, but that's how that one is looking. I was actually happy that in this lip collection they did have a bit more, I would say, neutral leaning shades, or even a cooler leaning shades, because a lot of Odin's Eye lip products have been quite orangey, warm or reddish leaning, so I kind of tried to pick out the shades that were a bit different from what they previously had. And then from the liquid matte lipsticks I got the Vintage Fuchsia, so it came in the packaging like this one, and again, very nice ombre packaging, and we're gonna see this. So it is looking quite mauvish. I'm gonna be interested to see, because I wasn't such a big fan of the Legendary Diversa collection Judy's lip product that came in a similar packaging in this one, because the formula, it felt kind of waxy, it was kind of strange, it didn't stay quite put on the lips, and I had to do a lot of like babying with the formula, so interested to see that what kind of liquid lipstick formula now the sort of spring collection has. And then the 2 palettes that I got, so I got the winter palette and I got the autumn palette. The summer palette was a all blue palette, which was an easy skip for me, and then the spring palette was a pink leaning palette, but I have the Rose Jingles palette from their holiday collection last year, so I thought it was a bit too similar. So this is the winter Alva palette, and this was a more, what I would say, purple blue leaning rather than a full-on blue palette, unlike what the summer palette was. And I do think that this actually has a pretty this goes pretty deep, and I do kind of see that, like, when I looked at this, and especially I have already swatched these, and I'm gonna be posting the swatch videos before this video is gonna go live with these ones, but I do feel that this kind of quite well works as winter palette, because it has quite deep shades and then you have very cool tone shades. So I did kind of think that after swatching, especially swatching this one, I was thinking that okay, that makes sense, I can see that as a winter palette. And then there was the sort of Alva Fall palette, so it was this one. Again, now that I've actually swatched this, I actually do think that I am thinking more spring with this one, at least based on the swatches. I think if they would have put it more this sort of like reddish, orangey, brownish tones with these greens, then I would think more of like fall. But this one actually, because it has quite light shades in it with the greens, it is definitely making me more think of spring. But this is of course purely like a personal opinion, so obviously for many other people this could think of fall. Interested again to try this out based on swatches, because Odin's Eye have been having some batch issues with their palettes. I have certainly had my fair share of those. In terms of swatches, I do think this swatched out quite okay. With this one I'm a bit worried with some of the shades, but again, swatches don't tell the whole story. It can be, and I am hoping both of these are gonna work just fine when I get them to the eyes, but you're gonna be hearing about that one once I will be able to review those. And then to my sort of Monolith purchases. So Monolith is a European retailer for a lot of overseas indie brands, and I did shop 2 times. I shopped their June launch, and then they had a sort of mini launch and a summer sale in July. And from the July I actually ended up shopping things that were on sale, so I didn't shop on the July launch any new things that were added on the website. So, but in the June launch I did end up getting this one. So this is the Frosted Fairy. This was from Kaima Cosmetics. I could have ordered this from Kaima's own website because Kaima Cosmetics is a UK-based indie brand. Most UK companies, if you order from their website, they actually do take care of the sort of value-added tax. So basically when you pay the order, you also pay for the value-added tax when you're ordering, so that way there's no extra handling fees when you like order from UK, but this is very dependent on the retailer. You should always check, especially after now that we are living time after Brexit, check on UK retailers that they handle the VAT, but if they say that they handle the VAT, it's still very like easy. Shipping times and shipping expenses have gotten up after Brexit, that I will have to say. But this one I did end up with, like holding out for this one, because with Kaima, especially in terms of mats, I have had a bit of a it's a very sort of one-woman run, quite newish indie brand, and their mats previously haven't been my favorite part of their palette, so especially when I saw this had pastels in it, I was thinking that I'm not gonna buy that at launch. I want to see first reviews that are the pastels good, and I did saw the reviews. People were saying the mats were great, so this I have already had this on my rotation. You're gonna be seeing this in my palette review video, and I do have to say the matte quality in this one is so far I think the best that the brand has done, and I have been enjoying my time with this one, so I am very excited when I will be able to get this on a review video, so you're gonna see the looks and I'm gonna be able to talk more about this one. Then the palette that I'm wearing today, so this look is gonna be actually the third look that you're gonna be seeing in the sort of palette review video from this one. So this is the Whispering Woods, and this was Ensleigh Rain's summer launch, and again, what did I use in today's looks? I think I used the sort of light orangey shade over here. I used the sort of peachy red one over here. Then to deepening up, I think I used the purple, and then as the shimmer, this one over here. And again, just like with the Kaima Cosmetics one, I do have to say that I have been quite enjoying this one. I definitely think that, especially in the beginning of the year, a lot of palettes that I tried have been neutrals, so I've been quite getting more into buying, like now testing more colorful things again, and I do have to say that so far, again, just like with the current one, I have been liking this one quite a lot, but again, this is something I'm going to be talking more about in the review video. Then some of the sale products, so this is going to be the first from this brand once I will be getting this to my sort of palette rotation. So this is the Artitude Cosmetics Ink and Roses. This was their Valentine's palette. I skipped on this because there was quite a lot of Valentine's things again launching, and I did try to be better this year of not buying like every Valentine's launch that I saw. So this is how the palette is looking. Based on swatches, this swatched out quite well, so I am very like excited to get this in my rotation and sort of try this, because definitely this is sort of like more of the sort of like grungy Valentine's, where you do kind of have the pinkish shades, but then you might have also some deeper shades in this one, and it's not purely a sort of all pink Valentine's palette, which were a lot of Valentine's palette this year were these very like heavy pink, full-on pink palette, so this was something different, and yeah, interested to try this out once I will get this into my rotation. And then the last thing in this sort of haul video, so from the sale, they also had this one, so this is the Ensleigh Rain's Light in Your Eyes palette, so this was now on a this was quite expensive when it launched because it was one of the bigger palettes, so again, this is I think goes to more leans towards the neutral palettes that I've been more into, especially in the beginning of this year, but this also does have some color. Though when already based on swatching this, I am going to be maybe saying that if you've been eyeing this or the Whispering Woods palette, then I think just based on swatching and seeing the shades, there might be like some like quite a bit of similarities between this and with this one and the Whispering Woods one. But I think I'm gonna be like, after I have created my demo looks with this one, and once I have gotten this, because I think I will be reviewing the Whispering Woods and this one in the same palette review video, so I think I'm gonna be like testing this out and seeing that actually when you use them to your eyes, that are they that similar. But just based on like swatching the shades out, I do maybe feel that there's like bit similarity between the two palettes, even though this is like, obviously this has more shades than the Whispering Woods one. But yeah, that was actually the last thing we had for this video. That was my sort of haul video for the last couple of months. During August we will be getting to the sort of normal routine, so we will be doing these like once a month, and that way these videos also don't get that long. This was just an exception because, as I said, most of the things that I got during June was actually like the big P. Louise haul that there was like a separate video on my channel, so that is why I sort of combined the sort of rest of the products into one. Comment down below what did you think about things that I have gotten. Maybe tell us what have been some of your favorites you have gotten during this summer, or if you have been on a no buy or low buy, then let us know how that is going for you. If you like this video, push the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell button if you want to get notifications from future content. You can also find me with the same nickname, Hey Makeup Hedgehog on Instagram. I hope I'll see you in another video. Bye bye!